What is... No, I'm not doing Craig's intro. I'm not doing that. Don't worry. I'm not stealing that from Craig. Hello, welcome to Anfield Agenda. My name is Conor. I'm filling in for the news show today as Craig is away. I thought, how hard could it be just reading tweets off a screen, let's be honest. So, we'll give it a bash. Let's see how it goes. Where should we start off today then? Let's start off with Hugo Ekitike. We still haven't got the announcement officially yet, but we have had confirmation that he has completed his medical. Half of that was done last night, half of that was done this morning, so that's great news. I'd expect in the next hour or two, or maybe this evening, we'll get that announcement. Craig will be live, of course, tonight at 8:45 as usual. I'm sure he'll cover all that then. Good news though, Ekitike in the door, happy days, nothing to be concerned about. Medical done, I'm sure he's doing his media bits now and stuff. So absolutely nothing to be concerned about. Deal done, contract signed, bing bang bosh done. Moving on to Luis Diaz then, we had a report from Alex Crook and Ben Jacobs this morning about that. So basically Bayern Munich are set to make an improved offer, which we've heard for about a week now at this stage, but apparently they're willing to now go to £70 million. Now we've heard Liverpool are kind of looking at that €100 million, £80 million mark for Luis Diaz this summer. I've seen a few reports citing the fact that Saudi Arabia were willing to pay €100 million for Bruno Fernandes last summer or in January, so the club have set a very high price, but the player has been pushing for a move. We've seen that. He's basically asked him to accept whatever offer comes in next, so £70 million, I think I'd take that in all honesty. Like, he doesn't want to be here, clearly. He wants a new contract, doubling or tripling his wages. Apparently he's on very low wages, so if that's not going to happen, I can see why he might want to leave. So £70 million, what do you think? I think I'd take that, honestly. I think that's a good price for a player we signed relatively cheaply a couple of years ago, and I think 70 million, I take that. Along with that then, there's been a lot of talk the last day or two about Rodrygo of Real Madrid. We have a few reports here. So Lewis Steele he's back from his holidays now, so we're hearing from him again. He has reiterated that Liverpool are definitely interested in Rodrygo. And then this coupled along with Carousel, a Spanish publication I believe, who were stating that Rodrygo is not in Xavi Alonso's plans at Real Madrid this summer. We've had a few journalists speaking about this, saying like the club is basically open to selling, but Rodrygo still has to decide whether he wants to leave. But it's hard to see him staying if the club really don't want him. We've seen a few different valuations thrown around. Was Diario in Spain, I believe, said Madrid want about €80 million. That seems a bit low to me, given there was rumours last night the PSG were willing to offer €100 million. That sounds a bit more in the price range, maybe the 75 to 85 million pound mark, I think would be what we're looking at this summer. We've had Fabrizio Romano, of course, as well, saying that Rodrygo still needs to decide his future, with the player unsure if he wants to leave, but he has reiterated the club are open to selling him, citing interest from the Premier League and PSG. Presumably the Premier League interest, that'll be us and Arsenal, I'd imagine. Arsenal seem to have cooled that interest slightly now that they're getting Victor Gyökeres in the door, so there's a chance there. PSG, of course, will be a very attractive proposition to Rodrygo as well, but Liverpool definitely in the mix there, one to watch, particularly if that Luis Diaz to Bayern story picks up in the next day or two. So definitely want to keep an eye on Rodrygo to Liverpool. Would you take him? I personally would. We have Isak, of course, as well being linked, which is dream target stuff, obviously, and like, not to say Rodrygo isn't up in that level as well, but this is what we're moving in this summer. Alexander Isak or Rodrygo, like, you wouldn't exactly be unhappy with either of them. And on Isak, we've had a report from The Telegraph, very reputable publication, of course, saying that high-ranking figures at Newcastle, including the chairman Yasser Al-Rumayyan, I'm sure I butchered that, and co-owner Jamie Rubin, are adamant that Alexander Isak is not for sale. The Swedish striker has been unsettled by speculation over his future, which of course we've seen over the last few days as well. We've seen Isak training on his own. We've seen reports that he just wants like £300 million a week, or £300 million a week, £300,000 a week, which Newcastle are not going to pay him. I think he seemed to have ruled out a Saudi move, so where does that leave him then? Is it just us? Like, what are his options? Like, Liverpool have the money to pay. Newcastle don't want to sell him, but he doesn't want to be at Newcastle, so definitely one to watch. I think, I don't know. I don't want to say we're going to sign him, but I wouldn't be shocked if we did sign him. So let me know what you think about that in the comments as well. There's also been some talk about Rio Ngumoha today. The youngster, of course, has been impressing in pre-season. Lewis Steele has said, from what I'm told, Rio Ngumoha especially looked very good against Preston, and apparently he's also been really impressing in training. So, like, could we see Rio used this season? Like, he's, just about to turn 17 next month. We've been linked with Malik Fofana alongside the likes of an Isak and Rodrygo this summer, but could our solution for a backup winger already be at the club? Like, he is very young. Like I said, he's only turning 17 next month, but it is worth noting that Harvey Elliott made his Liverpool debut at 16 years and 174 days, so Rio's an old man at this stage compared to that, so it's not out of the question that we brought into the first team this season, but He is still very young, very raw. Of course, he has looked extremely impressive from what we have seen. We've seen him skinning players in training. There was rumours last season that he was skinning Trent too much in training and the club wouldn't release the footage, not to embarrass him. Release the footage now, I say. But yeah, let me know. What do you think? Is Rio too young? I'd happily see him played a little bit, but I wouldn't want the pressure put on him for that, or I wouldn't want Liverpool to have to rely on a 16-year-old to be a backup. But more than happy to see him integrate into the squad this season. I'd rather keep him around than send him out on loan. So by all means, let me know what you think on that. There's also plenty of talk around centre-backs today, interestingly. We've had a report from Ben Jacobs again. He's been spot on this summer, in fairness to Ben Jacobs. He's been absolutely top tier for Liverpool news. He has said that Crystal Palace have informed Mark Gay that his preference is a sale this summer rather than letting him go for free next summer, which makes sense because they could get 40 or 50 million for him if they get their valuation. So I can see fully why they'd want that money rather than letting him go for free next summer. Ben Jacobs said a move to Anfield has looked the most likely this summer. However, they currently believe Crystal Palace asking price is too high, which I can see as well. Like a player with 1 year left in his contract, 40 or 50 million pounds is a lot of money to commit. Then again, he is a leader. He's a very good defender. He's young still. I think he's like 24. So again, one to watch. That kind of ties in as well, to be honest with. We've seen Marca claim that Real Madrid are looking at making a bid for Konate in the next few weeks. Maybe if we could get 30 or 40 million for Konate, then give that to Crystal Palace for Marca instead. It wouldn't be the worst bit of business in the world. If, obviously we'd rather Konate stay, but if he is about to leave, basically losing Konate and bringing in Marca for the same price wouldn't be the worst business in the world. Let's be honest here. We've also seen today that Chelsea have opened talks with Jarell Hato, who's been linked with Liverpool a lot this summer. And we've had a report from Fabrizio Romano saying that, where's this gone? Chelsea have started making a move for Jarell Hato, who is now a top target for them. Hato is open to the move and ready to agree personal terms with Chelsea. So between those two links, between the Mark Gahey and the Jarell Hato links, you'd have to think Liverpool will be moving on one of those soon, whether it's a Hato situation like Ekitike where Chelsea get in close and then we decide to gazump them at the last minute. That's very possible. Or else we put our money down to get Mark Gahey in, who of course will be the more senior option. So it depends, I suppose, whether Liverpool want to bring in a young centre-back in Hato or a bit more experience in Mark Gahey. So let me know what you think will happen there. Would you want both of them maybe? Would you rather Gay or Hato? Let me know about that. Funny bit of news now as well, just to round out the video. So Martin Zubimendi, our favourite central defensive midfielder from Spain, has been speaking about why he turned down Liverpool last summer, saying, "It wasn't the right time. I wanted a quality coach when I left Real Sociedad." So naturally he chose Mikel Arteta, who's won one FA Cup with Unai Emery's team, may I mention, rather than Arne Slot. Great decision there, fella. I'm sure that'll work out brilliant for you. He'll fit right in at Arsenal with that level of decision making. So fair play to you, lad. Yeah, off to Mikel Arteta's fucking jolly ups now with one FA Cup. That's what you want. Great decision, yeah. Not salty, by the way. So there we have it anyway. That's all the news today so far. We will be back on again later, of course, if Ekitike is announced, or Craig will be back on at 8:45 tonight anyway, regardless. So please keep an eye out for that. Hit the subscribe button before you head out. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you soon.